We are live. Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble for the men. Liv Morgan won the Women's Royal Rumble. But what's next on the road to WrestleMania 42? As well on the show, we saw Drew McIntyre defeating Sami Zayn to retain the WWE Championship. AJ Styles is retired from WWE, but is he retired from everywhere else? Is WWE's creative a little bit stale? And did anyone in Saudi Arabia know who Powerhouse Hobbs was? We're going to discuss that all and more today. NXT on Hot Seat with me. We're taking some of your questions as well on the show. Make sure to like the video, share with a friend, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let's get the hype going early. NXT, I want to sort of like get an overall thought of the show, but at the same time, I feel like we should generalize as well and go through match. But yeah, quick overall thought of the show. Was it mid? Was it a bit better than mid? Or was it great for you?
Hot garbage. Honestly. For me personally, I think it's one of the worst Rumbles ever. I think that both the Rumble matches themselves, very weird, because like up until you get to like the last three of the Women's Rumble, where you get down to Liv, Sol Ruka, and I think it's Raquel's the last three, isn't it? Is it Raquel? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go with Sol Ruka was third. Sol Ruka and Tiffany were the last three with Liv.
Sorry, Sol Ruka, Tiffany, and Liv Morgan. And you kind of like, okay, do you know what? Not really a bad outcome from whoever wins this Rumble. Like, either way, like, Tiffany is a predictable winner. Liv is a fan favorite. Sol wins. Damn, that's a great call. I wouldn't be against it. But I think the rest of the Rumble itself was pretty awful. And not in terms of just like awful, but like no surprise. Like Brie Bella is your one surprise in the whole Women's Rumble. Just a very underwhelming for surprises. Again, most of the women's wrestlers were announced, so we already knew who was going to be in the thing. One half of that Rumble was spent in the women's tag team division, which again, just underwhelming. And then you get to the men's. The men's was a lot more exciting. I think there's a lot more controversial points, but then you got down to the final four, which was what? Roman, Gunther, Logan Paul, and
Randy Orton.
And you're kind of like, I'm not excited by any of those. Like, except for Logan Paul, just because it would be fun to see Logan Paul win one. Well, look, out of all of them, he's the only one that drives intrigue. No one cares if Roman wins it. No one cares if Randy wins it. No one cares if Gunther wins it. Why have Gunther in the Rumble if he's not going to win the thing? Do you know what I mean? It's just two very weirdly booked Rumble matches. And then like you had the matches in between. Sure, Gunther versus AJ was a great match. But yeah, just a very lackluster. And as well, the times, these Rumble matches just took forever, man. Like, they went on so long. Like, I really felt like the women's one just ate into so much time.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to sort of talk about it, I mean, first off, this is probably the greatest Royal Rumble since the last time there was the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. But literally, yeah, this Rumble probably as a show, probably the worst since 2022, I would say. Just things just didn't click, didn't connect. I felt like it was very like, I don't know, creatively wasn't its best. There were a few moments in the show where I felt like, okay, this I like, this was kind of cool, but they're little moments, and they're small moments as well. And what's a big story? You mentioned the Women's Rumble, which we'll probably dive into first and talk about. Like you said, Liv was the favorable winner. Bianca didn't return, so we don't know when she's going to be back. I think many assume she would be back at this Rumble. The fact she wasn't, so we don't know what that means. We're going into WrestleMania. But Liv was then the fan favorite and the right winner, in my opinion, at that point, because there was no one coming back. And Tiffany coming back was awesome. Good to see that. But does she need to win the Rumble? Probably not at this stage of her career at this moment. I think she can go through and still be fine with the chain, but I wouldn't be surprised if her versus Jade is the potential match for WrestleMania if Bianca doesn't return, for example. But when I look at it, I just felt with the Women's Rumble, it started off okay. I loved CD called a prediction at the very start with the idea of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte
Flair and Bliss, yeah,
which happened, which I'm going to say this probably a lot in this stream, and this is not a dig on where the show was, but this show was booked for an American audience. This was the wrong audience that sort of thing was done in front of. But they were booing the idea because it was right for storytelling that Bliss and Charlotte were not wrestling, and they were teasing the idea of what they will and won't do. It was very cleverly done. It was a bit awkward, but it was very cleverly done. Then they got to entry number 3, and then they didn't eliminate the person. They were going to work together. They beat them down. They waited for entrant number 4. Very, very weird and how that played out.
Look, honestly, the most logical booking ever from a tag team being in a rumble at the same time. Like, don't fight each other, fight the third person. And you'd have thought with Kiana James coming out, oh, that's easy elimination for the pair of them just to get through, just to show some sort of coherency between them both and just almost like put those two on the right path. But if you can't even eliminate Kiana James in the first 60 seconds between two of you, you know, one 13, 14 times women's champion, one 5, 6 time women's champion, and you can't eliminate Kiana James. It's bad booking. It's just very. I said I get why they did it, but you're right. Like, look, we said me personally, I said this months ago. I was worried that this was going to be the worst Rumble ever, anyway, just because of where it was. Because, I mean, look, we was talking when the show was on, and it looked empty. Like, I know it wasn't as empty as what it was, but when the Women's Rumble started, I'm telling you now, like 30% of that stadium was still empty. That's shocking. Honestly, absolutely terrible.
I mean, with the lights on above every seat as well, like obviously it looks cool as a visual, seeing all these different LED lights going through the match and stuff like that, but you also want a feel of your audience. You want to feel with the crowd, and you want them to be invested. And when that comes through a TV screen, you can sort of get amped up a little bit with it. And this is why when we did the predictions, and I thought Rhea Ripley was the right shout to start the Rumble off, because when you heard her come out, she was one of about 5 people on the show that got a massive reaction. You know, we're talking Rhea Ripley, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. For some reason, Brie Bella was a massive reaction as well, but mainly I think for the Daniel Bryan chance. But still, I just think that would have been a better way to go, to start off a bit of wrestling, a bit of something that would they could have bitten into to keep us going, because I felt like and genuinely felt like it's the first half of the Women's Rumble was very slow starting match. And while there were some still okay moments and cool spots and stuff like we mentioned Kiana James, should have been eliminated in 30 seconds, but at the same time she went on to be in there for like 29 minutes and then very impressive.
She had a good. This is what they did do right. The right people got right showcases. Lash Legend, he's got a fantastic showcase in there. Obafemi, Javon Evans, all these people got decent showcases. Don't get me wrong, certain people like JC Jane, your NXT Women's Champion, barely even remember her being in the Rumble, if I'm honest with you. I remember coming out, don't remember ever actually doing anything of any relevancy in the Rumble. But I think Sol Ruka, oh God, honestly, Sol Ruka was made to look like $1 million in that. And I'm even gonna pick on the winner as well. Like, yes, Liv should have won, but Liv's not even in a title scene or in any title picture to be like in with a shout of winning the Rumble this year. Like, she's been so tied up with that tag team division. And this was the other thing as well. You can tell pretty much what half the Mania card is going to be after watching this Rumble. And I can automatically see that it's going to be a multi-women's tag team ladder match for them tag team titles. And it was just easy booking. Like, you can already see what WrestleMania is going to be like from the show. But yeah, back to Liv. She deserved to win a Rumble, but this just didn't feel like the one. Like, she needed to be a Rumble winner when she's in the title scene. And like I said, she's been faffing around the tag division since she came back. I'm not against Liv winning, but it just feels underwhelming almost.
I see your point of view, because the fact is they've played the story where Raquel's the one that's been going for the title, and I think that obviously they've let Liv go in the background by the time, and now is going to be the time she's going to come to the forefront. And it comes at a very interesting period, because she's eliminated Raquel Rodriguez from the Royal Rumble, turning on her partner, and she's the one going for the title. What if Raquel wins? Or better yet, what if Raquel doesn't win? It's really stemming the idea of Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan as the direction of what's next on the road to WrestleMania. I'm not against that. I think it'll be a great match. I think if they do it, I'm actually more keen for Raquel versus Liv, because then you have a full Judgment Day dynamic. You can have the breakup. You can have Where's Roxanne Perez. You'd imagine she'd be on Raquel's side, but recently she's been with Liv Morgan. Does she stay with Liv Morgan? Who's the face? Who's the heel? All that razzmatazz. There's a lot of fun of what you can do with that. But I'm expecting tonight on Raw Stephanie Vaquer to retain the title, and we'll see what they can do with it going into WrestleMania. I think the match will be decent. I almost think that would be the right place for Liv to go and win the women's title back at this particular moment, just purely because I think from a storytelling perspective, I think you can do more with Liv Morgan at the moment than what we're seeing with Stephanie Vaquero as champion.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Stephanie's run as champion has been underwhelming. Like, she's not been given the greatest opponents. And the second we get a credible opponent for her, like a Liv Morgan, and she's going to lose it at WrestleMania. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's rubbish booking. Like, honestly, I'm excited for the match. And look, 2 months, 2.5, 3 months is okay. You've got some time to change it around, maybe make it more interesting. But this feels like it's almost like Jay and Gunter last year. Like, just like Jay wins the Rumble, and there's just, I think it was like 2 weeks before Mania where I sat there and generally and gone, okay, now I can believe that Jay's winning against Gunter at WrestleMania. And it just feels the same. It just feels like a lackluster story and easy. It's just easy booking.
Easy or lazy?
I mean, probably a bit of both, if anything. Like, it all feels lazy. Like you said, we talk about the surprise entrance. Oh god, the fact I had to listen to Brie Mode in 2026. Oh my god! Like, I know we had the conversation the other day about watching the 2001 Rumble where you had to listen to Right to Censored 4 times in one night. Listening to Brie Mode once is enough for me, and I already hate it, and I just want it to go away again. But yeah, it just seemed like it was a tag team Royal Rumble. It wasn't a women's Royal Rumble. It was a tag team Royal Rumble.
And I think that still could have actually been quite fun. I just think the fact is that a lot of the teams were separated. You had some of the teams working together, some of them not. I actually don't think they played up to the tag team dynamic for most of the match they could have. They played up to it when we had Charlotte Flair eliminate Alexa Bliss, of course, by accident. You had commentary then teasing, was it by accident, was it not? That'll be fun for the storytelling for the next week or two at least, from Monday Night Raw from them, or SmackDown. SmackDown's the show they're on, apologies. But with a lot of the others, yeah, Rhea was upset when Io was eliminated, but I didn't see much teamwork going on before then. Judgment Day did it in places where they could have been together, but again, they didn't fully go for it, and then they didn't stick to it because Roxanne was eliminated. Then Raquel and Liv want to get involved with it until Liv decides to eliminate Raquel. I just feel like that we could have played it with the dynamic further. Like, Nia Jax and Lash Legend were in the match at 2 completely different points, so it just felt like that was a tournament that never really happened. So I think it could have been executed better. That's my personal opinion. A tag team Royal Rumble could have been a lot more fun. And yeah, when you had the dynamics of the single stars, for example, Zelina Vega, I don't think would have hurt coming in and going out quicker. Like, because no, nothing against her. She got 0 reaction for starters. She's not doing anything on SmackDown right now. So I don't think it would have harmed her to be one of those people that came in and went straight out again. Of course, Twitter would have a meltdown like it did with Rusev, but we'll talk more about that later. But when it comes to it, down to it, there's a few questionable decisions as well. Natty eliminating Becky Lynch. Obviously, a lot of people expected AJ Lee on the show. That didn't happen. I do say this is that sometimes us as fans have to remember that WWE didn't promise an AJ Lee. They didn't promise a Chris Jericho. They didn't promise certain things. So we all expect them, and when they don't happen, we get annoyed. So it's like we shouldn't be annoyed for those things and expecting of those things. But at the same time, was it a little bit strange that Becky Lynch was eliminated by Natty, of all people? I know it's a new character. It's interesting. She wants an IC title match, which she'll probably get now. But I still find it a bit random.
Yeah, dude, honestly, it's all random. Like, look, I mean, we wouldn't even get onto it in the men's one. Like, Brock Lesnar getting eliminated with no TV coverage because they were too busy pissing about with Jey Uso's entrance, for God's sake. And it's like, that's probably one of the biggest talking points of the Rumble. And they missed it because they were doing that stupid fucking yeet thing. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I know we're not expecting people like AJ Lee, and we're not expecting like Hall of Famers like Trish Stratus or Lita, but it just felt like there was nothing exciting about the entrance for the Women's Rumble. Like,
I mean, I was expecting them. I was expecting them.
That's what I mean. Yeah, but it's like you sit there and you go, "Oh, Tiffany's out at number 30. That's not really that exciting." A lot of people expected her back. Bianca Belair, look, don't get me wrong, I think Bianca Belair not being there was probably a better thing than it was actually being there, because I think people would have just got her in and it would have been like, okay, well, she's going to win it. And I think it would have almost played down half of the Rumble because people were thinking she would win. But so when you go on to the show and you know like 17, 18, 19, 21 of the entrants, there's no intrigue to it. There's no who's coming out next. And like I said, there's no surprises. Oh, dude, man, look. Go and find some independent wrestlers somewhere, or so. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Just go and find someone like Brie Bella is not the surprise entrant you want. There's half a dozen women out there in like free agents or TNA wrestlers that probably could have taken a spot that would have been more intriguing and more interesting. But there was no build behind the Women's Rumble. Like I said, until you got down to the final three, when it was say Liv, Tiffany, and Sol Ruka, and I was like, do you know what? I'd be happy with any one of them. But we took 27 eliminations to get to that point before I was remotely interested in that match.
Totally fine. I'm going to have a bit of a counter on that one because I'm going to play devil's advocate because I do think for NXT entrants, a return in Tiffany Stratton, which is a big name in the women's division, even if it's not everyone's favorite. She's had a remarkable 2025, and I reckon she'll still have a big 2026. And Brie Bella, despite being a legend, not everybody's favorite. The Bella twins, they have mainstream attention. They're probably going to be a team going forward. They're probably involved in that tag team title match at WrestleMania. I do think it's enough of surprises. Because NXT as well is always a place that WWE can dip into. No one's a guarantee. Like you could have got a Blake Monroe, for example. Some may say that would have been better. But like I do feel the names we got from NXT were quite cool. We got Kalani Jordan, JC James, Sol Ruka. You know, there's some good names there that were called in for this Royal Rumble match. And like you said, some of the presentations and moments were really, really good. But there were some really surprising, shocking moments. And I do think the Becky Lynch elimination from Natty just didn't make any sense. I would have preferred a more high-profile name for Becky Lynch to be throwing her out of the match, especially she'd only been in there for about less than 10 minutes. I also feel my other problem with the women's match, which is why it lacked interest up until the end, is that when the number 30 entrant came out in Tiffany Stratton, there was 14 people still active in the ring. Now, I quite like the active ticker at the bottom because it keeps you up to date with what's going on, who's in, what's next. You can't really lose track of it. And I think that one, it can be a little bit distracting. I still think it's quite helpful. But 14 people left when number entrant 30 comes in. Royal Rumble is exciting because of the fact that you have maybe 5 people in the ring, then 2 people get thrown out, another 3 people come in, then another 2 get thrown out. Do you want to mean you always do something where there's eliminations and it keeps it fresh and exciting in the match, the dynamic changes. Otherwise, you get to the point where people come into the ring and within 2 minutes you forget they're there. I forgot Rhea Ripley was in the match for half of the time she was in there because I didn't see her on the camera. And that's not good because she's one of your top stars. So I kind of feel like that was certainly an effect towards probably at least the middle chunk to the latter part of the Royal Rumble. It probably harmed as well the spots like Oscar and Kairi Sane was quite a cool little spot when you look at it. Kairi accidentally eliminating Oscar from the Rumble, Kairi getting thrown out afterwards. But there's about 1 million people in the ring at the same time. So everyone else gets lost in the shuffle while that sort of moment is going on as well.
But this goes back to my point that this Women's Rumble went on way too long. If you've still got 14 people in there at number 30, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the graphic. I think it's overtly too large as well. I think it takes up too much of the screen for what it is. Great. I think next year it needs to be slightly smaller. I mean, don't get me wrong, at one point it said up next entry number 31, and I went, wait, when did we change the rules for the Rumble here? But I think it was just a production nightmare because so many key points were missed. Like you said, they caught Kairi and taken out Asuka, but then they missed Asuka's reaction to cut to something else in the ring. I just think it was honestly a booking nightmare. Like it was almost like people missed their timing or they missed their cues so badly. And like you said, you've got the last woman in, 14 left. That Rumble's still going to go on for another 15 minutes. It's way too long for a Rumble match.
Yeah, but Triple H likes to book the long Rumbles. I don't know what it is. He likes the match to go about another 20 minutes after the entrant 30s come in, which is why all records keep getting broken each and every year of how the longest person in the Rumble, which thankfully we didn't get this year. At least the records have lasted for 2 years because at the moment they're being broken every year. But at the same time, I will say that my other issue with this, and this is going to be something that's going to probably be something you've been calling for years, I don't think you should start a Royal Rumble show off with a Royal Rumble match. I'm sorry, but think of it going to a dinner. You know, you have a starter before you have your main course. And sometimes the Royal Rumble should be treated like your dessert. That's why it's the main event. You know what I mean? It's the thing you're looking forward to the most. It's the sweet treat. Do you know what I mean? You don't walk in and say, I'm going to have that, whatever for starter. Oh yeah, by the way, that's your highlight of the. If that's your highlight of the meal, it's not a very good restaurant. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's where I kind of wonder that if the Royal Rumble going forward should be 2 nights, because the Women's Rumble is continuously thrown, and it feels like that the creative, it's probably too much for the creative team, one, to book 2 Royal Rumble matches, but two, to have them on the same night. I think if they just had a bit of a breather and the women can main event with a Royal Rumble on night 1 and the men could do it on night 2 or vice versa, depending on what you're looking to do, I think it just, I don't know, it gives more opportunities as well to see what happened on night 1 with a Royal Rumble match and what we need to tweak for night 2, rather than having 2 almost poorly booked Royal Rumble matches to a certain degree. I think it can benefit in the long run. I think it's too long of a show as well. 4 hours is far too long for a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
They're going up to 5 hours if you include the pre-show as well, and the post-shows and everything like that. I didn't even bother with them this time. But like, I think that it just would be better because you can have 2-3 hour shows. You can have, you know, the classic 2 or 3 matches that are going on in the card as well. And for example, on a show like this where AJ Styles, which we're going to move on to in a minute, is having his WWE retirement match, it's stuck in the middle of the card at match number 2. Surely the guy deserves better.
100%. Like I as soon as, like I said, when that match ended, and you text me, and I was just like, he should never have retired at this Rumble. It's the wrong crowd. It's just 100% the wrong crowd. It should have been in the States in front of a homegrown crowd. Like, don't get me wrong, they gave him his dues, they gave him his respect and stuff, but it just was the wrong crowd for the show. And yeah, look, I've been saying it for ages. Big Four should all be weekend events. And again, they did it this year. They need to clarify that they just get a world championship match at WrestleMania, because I'm pretty sure the ring announcer said in the main event at WrestleMania, and we pretty much know Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vicker ain't going to main event either nights at WrestleMania.
No, and I'm going to say this, and this is not a dig on Lash Legend. It's more the case of Michael Cole saying continuously Lash Legend will be a future main event at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, but I cannot take that seriously. The women haven't main evented WrestleMania since WrestleMania 37, which was Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. There's only been one other main event of WrestleMania, which was at 35, which was Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte. So we've had 5 performers who've had one main event each. 2 of them aren't in the company anymore. Your biggest current star in the women's division, Rhea Ripley, has not had a main event of WrestleMania. And you're telling me this NXT call-up who's been there for a cup of coffee is going to be a future WrestleMania main eventer? I can't believe that at the moment until WWE gives me more female main events at WrestleMania, because damn it, they do deserve it. They do. They're half of the time their performances on the shows are better than the men's. Not on this particular night.
Show. If you were going to tell me someone was going to main event WrestleMania, I would have said Sol Ruika from that. She come out looking like $1 million from the end of that Rumble.
She certainly did. Absolutely. She was, and I think personally looking at this, moving forward, you mentioned about JC Jane. This is mentioned this little spot now. She eliminated JC Jane from the Rumble. I think we're setting up Sol Ruika versus JC Jane. This is why Sol Ruika's not getting a call up just yet. I think Sol Ruika will be the NXT Women's Champion very, very soon. Possibly even as soon as what's the show that they have coming up there? Vengeance Day is probably the one they've got in February.
Yeah.
They could wait for Stand and Deliver, but they might want Sol to win it now so they can do Sol Ruika versus Zarya on WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And then Sol gets a call up to the main event. Honestly, how she hasn't been called up yet, I don't know. Like, she's honestly fantastic, and just again steals the show.
Absolutely. Let's go to some comments, and just actually before we do, any final words on the Women's Rumble and a match rating out of 5, please. Star rating.
At a star rating, 1.5. Just don't think it was great until you got down to the last 3.
I'm going with a 2, 2.5.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in that bracket. Like, it was okay. It wasn't the worst. I think it would be, again, I think this match would have been better received in front of a different audience. But I still don't think creatively it was good enough. And although I think it's a very popular winner, which I think a lot of people are happy about, which is great to see. I'm happy to see Liv Morgan finally won the Royal Rumble. I do feel sorry for all those women as well, because they're having to dress up in different attire. Like, you know, it must be difficult to compete in those conditions, wearing what they have to wear. Like, it's not a comfortable way to do your wrestling. So I do have a bit of sympathy for them as well, being shoved out first as well. Like you said, the place is still not filled up at this point. Half of the audience aren't aware of half of the talents are. So it's just, Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I don't think everything's entirely their fault, but creatively, I do think it could have been booked better. So yeah, I'll go for. Do you know what? I'm going to stick on a 2.25. There we are. That's what I'm going to go for the women's rumble. Certainly could have been a lot
I mean,
better. I think it's possibly one of the worst ones they've done since it started.
yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. Like, I agree, like what you're saying, but it's just underwhelming. It's just so underwhelming. Like, apart from the final three, I'm struggling to think of even a memorable moment. Maybe Charlotte, Chelsea Green, and Rhea Ripley in the middle of the ring. Chelsea getting another shining light in Rumble that was very lackluster, and she still managed to outshine loads of people in that match.
I did like the moment she tried to join up with the Judgment Day for all of about 2 seconds. That was quite fun. But and just to say how brutal, OMG moment of the night, Rhea's elimination from Raquel. Ouch, that bloody looked like that hurt.
Yeah. Well, again, but don't get me wrong, even Raquel had a great showing, but I don't know. Raquel's just not exactly been getting picked up wins, has she? Really? So to have like a few eliminations in the Rumble, it's like I'm hardly convinced by it. But I think that obviously the intrigue there is that Liv eliminated her. So last three, fine. Rest of it, I really couldn't care for.
Absolutely. We're going to do selective comments because some stuff is about the men's rumble, some of it's about the women's. So let's go into some comments and see what we've got here. C Nation Dog, thank you for joining us. Says Raquel Rodriguez is women, the Women's World Championship tonight on Raw. We get Liv versus Raquel for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 42. That's the match I want, believe it or not, even though I'm a big Stephanie Vecchia fan. But I do feel we've been teased Stephanie versus Liv since Liv returned. They've just been putting small Easter eggs since last November. I still think it'll be Vecchia versus Liv at the moment, although I would prefer this match. If you had to put your money tonight, who's winning, Vecchia or Raquel for you?
Vecchia. I think ultimately Liv will probably end up costing Raquel again, or something to be something like that. I think the bigger draw is Vecchia versus Morgan, depending on Vecchia's injury.
Absolutely, it could be quite interesting to see how that will play into the scenario as well. But hey, look. WWE threw a spanner in the works when Drew won the title, and they do some title changes recently. So wouldn't be surprised if Raquel won tonight. I'll leave it at that. But CD goes on to say that Raquel would be fine. She wouldn't even be Women's World Champion right now if it wasn't for Naomi. Well, you never know with that one. But yeah, I get his point. Sure, the Women's World title, but not this soon. Would Naomi still be champion in your opinion at this moment? It's hard. I suppose we'd never know, would we?
Yeah, it's hard. It's too hard to call, man. Like the booking is so questionable. Like you just never know.
You just never know at this particular moment. But we'll give a quick shout out to Marcel as well, who's in the house. This is from Amsterdam. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well, Marcel, and we appreciate you having here. And Eric Douglas is in the chat as well. Seems a bit confused about the dates when the Rumble was. Get on Netflix, my friend, or type into ESPN, checking out on the Rumble. It would be good to get your view once you've seen it. Yeah, AJ Styles versus Gunther. Just quick on this one, really. I thought this was an excellent match. I really enjoyed it. We did get to see some of AJ's high spots and some of his greatest hits in this match. I did think the crowd was into this, which was also nice to see. It was an inevitable result. I think the bigger talking point, though, is actually the end of the match. Being AJ obviously has lost the match. He realizes he's lost his match. He goes to take the gloves off. He looks like he's going to leave the boots in the ring and all that stuff. But then as the fans are chanting, no, 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 he puts the gloves back on and signals the phenomenal one, the P1 that's on his gloves. And it just made me start to question if AJ Styles just retired from WWE or if he's retired altogether. I've got a funny feeling AJ Styles has said that his final year, he wants to have some of his greatest feuds and rivals to wrestle one more time, just like, I guess like John Cena did. But the funny thing is, half of them don't work in WWE. You know, Frankie Kazarian is one of his closest friends who works in TNA. You could easily see the romantic story that AJ Styles finishes his career where he starts. You could also see perhaps maybe matches with the likes of Leon Slater, someone who looks to see to be the next him in the future for the X Division Championship, where AJ Styles first started his career going for that sort of title. Mike Santana will be another one to pass the torch to as well. But I also think about he's been everywhere else. Like he's been in New Japan. He might want to have another last sort of phenomenal go in New Japan against a couple of his better rivals from over there. But what about AEW? He's never been there. Samoa Joe being on his Mount Rushmore of rivals of all time. Surely they would do that one more time. One more match with Will Ospreay. They've never done it on a big promotion and a big stage. They could do that there. What about, Kenny Omega versus
Harder.
AJ
Kenny
Styles?
Omega.
Yeah,
Takeshita, yeah. There's just some dream matches in AEW for him.
I just think that could be the direction. I know Triple H said in the post show that he's not going to wrestle anymore.
Wrestling.
We've talked about him being a producer, but it's a bit early. I don't know why Triple H just said it if it's not factually true, because if he ends up turning off another promotion, it's going to look pretty silly.
Oh, well, that's Triple H's problem to deal with.
Absolutely.
AJ, not being funny, the guy's not under contract. He can go wherever he wants. I would not be surprised if he turns up on Dynamite tomorrow night, if he's a free agent now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, rumors were from multiple sources, including Fightful, that his contract was up in February. Obviously, we're in February now, so we don't know exactly when in February it would have been, but it would be interesting to see if he's a free agent to do what he wants. According to, I believe it's PW Insider, he is not due to be on Monday Night Raw tonight, so we'll see if that source is correct or not. Do you think then that we have seen the last of AJ Styles in WWE? Do you think we'll see his face one more time? Will he get perhaps maybe Hall of Fame, or perhaps maybe another year?
He'll get Hall of Fame guaranteed. Not this year. Well, I mean, look, Stephanie's only one announced for this year, so it's going to be a very small Hall of Fame induction this year. Honestly, I think if he was still going to be in it, technically he's still under contract, they would have put him in the Rumble and made him win the Rumble. Imagine that coming out. Gunther's 29, AJ 30. Gunther thinking that he's done with him. And you could have been like, yeah, I retire. At the end of the night wasn't over, so I entered the Rumble and I won, and I'm going to WrestleMania. And you could have had Gunther win title at Chamber and just redone it and have Gunther retire him at WrestleMania.
That would be quite an interesting storyline, actually. I wouldn't have been down for that.
Okay, of course it would.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Look, we can fantasy book this all day long, and it's just the same trash every time. We get all these fan fiction ideas going through our brains, and we love the idea of it. What do we get instead? Like we said on the predictions, like you said Gunther was going to win. I was like, I hope AJ wins, just for the fact that I think the pop alone from him winning would have been just fantastic. But he's obviously done with the company. I don't blame him. Go have a match with Will Ospreay. Go have a match with Kenny Omega, Takeshita, Okada. Go back to New Japan. Go do whatever. Go to TNA. Go do, honestly, the best retirement year you could possibly do off your own back.
A true phenomenal farewell tour. You looked at John Cena's farewell tour. I think AJ could book it better outside by going to multiple different companies.
Yeah, I reckon so as well. Like I said, it'll just be off his own back. It'll be the better retirement year.
Certainly. I do feel that there's a little bit of question of AJ as well, I guess we've kind of seen his farewell tour in WWE without realizing it. Great matches with John Cena at Crown Jewel last year, winning the tag titles with Dragon Lee, the one title we had sort of won, or we had won a tag title with almost, but maybe it was deemed as the other world title. I don't know, the world tag team title, but AJ's had some good stuff on his run out. And obviously the match with CM Punk was great to see. We actually had a great WWE match with Shinsuke Nakamura, which was good to see. But ultimately, the farewell tour of his retirement was a 2-week storyline, and a lot of people say he deserves better. But I guess in a way, he's not a WWE guy, is he? He was born and bred in TNA.
But even in that, if you look at AJ's matches over the last year, he's almost been on a retirement tour for the last year. You think of some of the matches he's had in the last year, some absolutely quality matches. Yeah. So it's kind of like we've had the best of AJ without even realizing we've got the best of AJ.
Absolutely. And I've got to say, cushion the blow a little bit. I got a chance to see him live just in this last month in WWE. That did cushion the blow just a little bit. So I'm pleased I got to see him in Copenhagen not too long ago. Just last word on Evan Gonzo, because we'll talk about him in the Royal Rumble as well. But he had to win this match. It would have been so wrong for him to lose it after everything with Cena. He now has this career killer thing on path now for him. Obviously now Bill Goldberg has been put to the side, John Cena, now AJ Styles. I do think it's going to lead into another storyline at WrestleMania, and at the moment I'm struggling to find what is the right path for WrestleMania, because I think it looks like we're getting over Femi and Brock Lesnar after the Rumble. We didn't see Gunther and Brock go face to face. So I'm wondering, could we get the career killer versus the legend killer? Could we get Gunther versus Randy Orton? And there is a way to make that match happen, and it's through the Elimination Chamber.
God. But the problem you're going to have now, this is the problem they've put themselves in now, is that as soon as a Gunther comes up against anyone that is of that age or that, do you know what I mean, longevity, retirement match. Like, I'm sure, I don't know if you sent it to me, but there was one I saw that was like a Mortal Kombat one, and it was like just going for a list of old wrestlers. Like, I'm sure R-Truth's probably going to be one of them soon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I hate the character, the dynamic, and the idea of it, because it's just boring. I'm going to retire you. I'm going to retire. Is that what every single one of his matches is going to be? A retirement match? Just how boring is that, man?
I mean, I'll face it if that's what it means.
Yeah, do you know?
I'm ready. Yeah, absolutely. But hey, look, final. Give us a rating for this one, a star rating for AJ and Gunther.
I'm going to say a 4. I just think the crowd was honestly, it's the wrong place, it's the wrong location. It's anything that puts it down for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say 4 as well, just because of the fact that I think that the match elevated very, very well. I enjoyed the story. I did think I feel the sleeper finish with Gunther is a bit flat. I would have preferred it to be a different submission hold, but at the same time, it is what it is. I think everything else of it really works well. I quite like the idea of the career killer, and I don't think it's a forever gimmick. I think it's a gimmick for 2026, and I think it's just to keep Gunther relevant until he starts winning some world titles again. And it is putting him on the next level. And I do think apparently there are reports, I've not seen these, for Randy Orton versus Gunther for WrestleMania 42, but legend killer versus career killer does seem to work quite well for me, and I do feel that Randy could probably win that match, because he's not going to retire anytime soon. And then you can build on to Brock Lesnar to get the heat back at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but oh God, I'm just so, this Mania card is just looking so disinteresting already. Just like, where's the long-term story in any of these matches? They're all 2-month builds. Do you know what I mean? Where's the one that's been going on since WrestleMania last year? Like, you know, we had Cody and Roman do it for 2 years. Where's that story this year? There just isn't one.
That might be coming. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah.
Gunther's going to have to evolve his career killer character eventually. I'm going to stick my teeth back in. Do you know that Gunther is 2-0 on Randy Orton, so he does deserve to pick up one win? I think that could be something that could be played into it as well. Obviously, the King of the Ring history they have as well with that finish in the match in Berlin, so they got stuff to do there. So yeah, it's quite cool, I feel, nonetheless. But yeah, we'll move on next quickly to Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn for the WWE Championship. I enjoyed the match, but I will be honest, again, I'm going to have a dig at the creative here, because I didn't really feel there was ever a moment that Sami Zayn believably was going to win this title. They didn't give me the near falls that I felt I needed, the emotion of the Sami of like, can I do it? Will I do it? I really felt like we were going to need that. And the moment where Sami lost, where he got two claymores from Drew and he's going to go for the haluva kick, I think I needed him to hit that haluva kick that time and to get that near fall. I think they get to the final third of this match too quick for me. I don't know. I found myself a little bit underwhelmed with this one.
Again, I go back to the Women's Rumble match. I think it ate too much time and they took away from other matches. And we were talking on the predictions before. Remember when Sami faced Gunther and they had that whole ring entrance thing? And you kind of, by the time you had that entrance, you wanted Sami to win. There was just none of that. I hate to say it, but Drew's being booked badly as a champion. Like, this guy has pissed and moaned for the longest time that he wants to be WWE champion, and now he's got the title. And I don't care for him. I really don't care for him. He's just such a like he's not even like a terrifying heel champion. He's just a coward champion half the time, or not even a coward champion. He's just a piss and moan champion. The guy's champion and he still moans. He wins the match, he still moans. Like, what? Where's the character range from this guy? Like, again, I know it's not him. It's the creative that he's been given. But I don't care. Like, and this was, again, we all knew this as well. This being Drew's first title defense. you know Sammy ain't going to win it. That's the problem as well. Like, if it had been Cody, I think there would have been more intrigue and more possibility that Sammy could have won it. But you know Sammy ain't winning it with Drew's first defense.
Yeah, I'm going to slightly disagree on that. I actually am enjoying Drew's character and run so far as champion purely because he's a hypocrite. He always has been a hypocrite, and I think that it shows through of that. And I think that rather than being someone that's being cowardly, I think he's cleverly picking his spots. The only problem is, though, he's picking his spots in battles that he doesn't need to, and I think that's ultimately what's going to cost him. Obviously, he didn't need to get involved with Cody anymore, and also he got involved with Jacob Fatu at the same time. That's going to come back for a triple threat match at some point. I've been told by Jonesy that some people are suggesting that's the match for WrestleMania. If you've seen my Elimination Chamber match card predicted video earlier this evening, I've got an Elimination Chamber, and I've got Cody winning the title. I understand my predictions aren't always popular, but I just need to specify this. I predict what I think.
They're logical. That's the problem. They're logical, and it's just so like we all try and think the best, and it like you come. Like, it's not your fault. You obviously do come. Like, I'm pretty sure you said something about one of these two rumbles, possibly the men's one, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe Steve predicted this. It might even be going back to the women's one, the first two entrants, but obviously that wasn't you. But still, it's like what you say is so logical, and it just probably is going to happen because, you know, why would you want Drew going into WrestleMania as champion when you got Cody, this like uber babyface, tweener, whatever he's supposed to be? I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like someone's too afraid to almost push boundaries or take risks. It's like the safest booking you could ever do. No one wants to be risky anymore. Like, I know it's not the Attitude Era anymore, but for Jesus Christ, let someone swear on a microphone for once in a while. Do you know what I mean? It just be exciting, and it's just predictable. It's boring. I don't get a boring rant either.
We do get occasional swearing on the mic. We do get that occasionally. I get your point of view. Look, there are some risks being taken on this year so far. I mean, Drew won the title. I don't think anyone really realistically fully expected it. I mean, some were like, look, this is his last chance, and surely if they're going to do this match again, he's going to win it. But I don't know if everyone truly believed he was going to win it, and it did open the doors a little bit for what's going to happen with like the road to WrestleMania. Now, which we're going to move on to in a minute, Roman's won the Rumble. I think people have gone a bit, oh, okay, well, it's either Roman Punk, which we had Roman Punk and Seth last year. It's kind of, you know, it's missing a bit of an ingredient of the match if we're going to do it again. And plus, they've been teammates since then. So the whole Paul Heyman stuff feels a little bit redundant at this point because they've been against Paul Heyman as a duo. And then on the other side, you could do Roman and Drew, which, of course, there's history. Clash at the Castle, you were there. That they could play into that. Could be quite fun. But at the same time, what if Cody won the title? What if Jacob Fatu won the title? Now, that would be really interesting. Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns, but probably not going to happen. This is also the basis if my prediction comes true of the triple threat match. It might not. It might simply just be, well, the number one contender in the chamber, and that's where Cody and Fatu end up, and Drew faces someone else, and Drew's the champion at Mania. But I mean, you could also do Cody. Well, you can't do Cody versus Roman about the title now because Roman's won the bloody Rumble. So, look, let's just quickly give a star rating. Let's talk about the men's Rumble, and then if we've got a bit of time left over, we can get some comments in because I feel, especially, I mean, CD's been superstar in the comment section here. He's given us quite a few comments this evening. I want to get a few of them up.
2.5. Yeah. 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5 for me as well. 2.5. I felt the exact same with that. I think that it was a bit. Yeah. Again, it wasn't enough. There was not enough interest for me to feel like Sammy was really going to win it, and that's I think what you needed in this show, and to carry on that story for a long-term story as well. People have this as a forgettable match, and maybe the next time they come to this, maybe it'll be I suppose they can still play on it and just say he choked, but I would have preferred a bit more of a closeness to it. I'll ask one last question actually before we go to the men's Rumble. Sami Zayn, where does he go from here between now and WrestleMania? I actually would argue that he may do the same thing he did last year, which is, I mean, last year he was hurt, which is why he wasn't on WrestleMania. But I would imagine him saying he's not good enough for WrestleMania this year because he couldn't win the title, and question his abilities for his story.
I mean, yeah, I can't see what he does at Mania at this point. Not unless he fights. I don't know, unless it's him versus Drew without a title.
I mean, it's a possibility to get over that hurdle if Drew drops the title. There's Trick Williams as well. Needs someone to wrestle at WrestleMania. That could be interesting. They started something on SmackDown that they've not finished.
Yeah, possibly. Honestly, at the minute, I just don't see Sammy making the card.
No, it's hard to think where to put him in at this particular moment. But maybe Jericho does come back eventually, and they can do Jericho as a heel against Sami Zayn. That could be interesting.
I would love that. Yeah,
that could work. But anyway, let's go on to the men's rumble. I felt this rumble was a bit more exciting from the start. I know it's got a very controversial beginning. Some people do not like it. But we're going to dive into it. But I felt this match was actually quite exciting for the first 2/3, and it got a little bit dull and a bit rubbish towards the end.
Yeah.
Obafemi number 1. First off, the ruler needs to be rolling soon. The presentation, the fireworks, the walk to the ring, everything about him screamed, this is your future of the company. This is someone that could be wearing the strap very quickly. It would be believable. It would be right. The guy who has up to, I think, the most eliminations, or certainly was in the conversation for most eliminations with 5 in this Rumble. Obviously, he eliminated Bob Breaker, Rey Mysterio, Solo Sikoa. He eliminated quite a few people. And it was only until he came face to face with Brock Lesnar and he turned his back on Lesnar, and that's how he got thrown out of the Rumble. So I even
think Brock tried to stiff him in the match itself. Like, there was a point where it almost like Brock tried to one up him, or no, I can't remember what the exact point was, but it was almost like he tried to stiff him and just make him look like a fool. And like, I'm Brock Lesnar, you ain't better than me, almost kind of thing. And I was like, oh mate, I cannot wait for you to be gone from this company forever.
I mean, to be fair, I think Oba, if he faces Brock in a singles match, I've got Oba win him. I have got Oba win him.
100%. 100%.
I'm excited about the prospect of what Oba's going to bring to WWE. But obviously, he was entrant number 1. Entrant number 2 is Bron Breakker, which is the controversial talking point of the early part of the match, because Bron Breakker, of course, was made to be number 2. It was a random drawing called Adam Pearce, but Paul Heyman says it's been done on purpose. Breakker is attacked on the way to the ring by a masked individual. Triple H loves a masked individual, doesn't he? Always in the black hoodie. It seems to be done with everything they ever do. If you watch Unreal, that's like 3 times that gimmick is done. But at the same time, at least there's continuity with Survivor Series. I'll give them something like that with this. But yeah, I mean, if you look online, the person that's done it doesn't look like Seth Rollins. Looks a bit like Excalibur, to be honest, from AEW commentary. But he's got a little bit of a light beard going on. Some are suggesting it could be Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, Jake Paul, whoever. Honestly, I think it was actually great booking. The whole Bron being taken out, like, you've got Bron and Obafemi in there, and you're like, my God, these are 2 like heavyweights, like top of the card guys that you're throwing in 1 and 2. I didn't actually mind Bron being taken out, because I think all it's done is just it's slowly getting people behind him as a tweener or a face almost. So when we get to that point when he actually does win the title, I think it will get a bigger pop because he's had so many obstructions in getting to it. And I think it was great. And like I said, the idea that it's supposed to be Seth, or it's meant to be Logan, or it's meant to be Jake Paul, or it's meant to be whoever, Hornswoggle, I don't know. But you know what I mean? It's just, I actually thought this was really good booking for Bron Breakker. I just thought it was so clever as well. Like, we normally see that kind of stuff midway through the Rumble. We never see it as the second entrant. I actually kind of liked it.
It woke me up. That's what I would say. It was great. It made me feel like that. I'm going for this Rumble. Something big has happened. A talking point I can come into the podcast and talk about. I enjoyed it as well because there's so many different directions they can go in. Like, I've heard people say it's Adam Pearce. It's like, I don't know if Pearce
I would love that.
I'd love it as well. I don't know if he'd move around like Seth. And that's the thing that makes me hard to believe for some of these people that could do the sort of like characteristics that Seth is doing, because whoever did it pretty well. Hit the curve as well. But I mean, if it was Logan Paul, just to throw speculation station, if it was Logan Paul, he's someone that's come into the vision again after Seth was taken out. Austin Fury's come in after Seth was taken out. Logan Paul was the one that said, we need to get behind Bron Breakker to win the Royal Rumble. We need to get behind him. We're on his team. And then it's the one to take him out. It would be an interesting theory. And as well, there was a thing of discussion at the start of the year on Monday Night Raw. CM Punk said, these guys are behind you now, Breakker, but as soon as you don't get the job done, they'll turn on you in a moment's notice. And it's like, maybe the Vision are going to turn on Brom. Maybe it's within. Brom Breaker's gone in. He's not got the job done, and this is their way that they're gonna kick him to the curb.
Not much of a faction when your only gimmick is turn on the leader every 5 minutes.
No, the Vision hasn't really worked. To be honest, it's not 2020 for sure. I would say they probably
almost as bad as Retribution.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, correction. No. Let me rephrase that. They're almost bad as the original iteration of the Judgment Day when it was Rhea, Priest, and Edge.
I'll take that. Nexus, I'll go with. That's a comparison for you. Kept swapping their leaders and swapping all their members around.
Yeah.
That'll be one of the goals.
Yeah, or the core.
The core.
The core is like a subdivision of the Nexus.
It's like the Nexus 2.0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad times.
It's like 2-3 NXT.
But yeah, anyway, I thought it was definitely noteworthy. I thought that was really, really cool. Shout out to Javon Evans, Iron Man of the Royal Rumble. I thought that was awesome for the men. I think
he looked phenomenal.
He looked amazing in there. And this is the thing that I actually thought was really good spots. Like you mentioned, the presentation of some people, the future stars, because it is an aging roster. So to see like Obafemi, a bright spark of the future, Javon Evans, he's only 21 years old, can have a bright future in the company. Great to see them have performances like that. It's really, really good. Javon Evans taking that RKO as well was very well done. Very similar to the match in NXT they had about 18 months ago. But really, really good stuff. I'm very, very happy for Javon.
I'm glad they managed to hit that that springboard from the top rope RKO reversal, like the cutter into the cutter, essentially, because I think they failed it the last time because Javon flopped the rebound or something. So I'm glad they hit it this time. It looked phenomenal. It was a really good reversal.
Certainly was indeed. Trying to think of some of the big spots. Let's just talk about the Brock Lesnar stuff, because I think that's the thing I think a lot of people are keen to hear about, especially the fact he was eliminated during Jey Uso's entrance.
Let's talk about Jey Uso for a minute. That geezer needs to be gone from TV. Honestly, I'm sick of seeing him now. And I was watching it with a couple of people, and I turned around and said, even the ref is telling him to hurry the fuck up because he's taking so bloody long to get into this ring. Like he's standing on the edge of the outside the ring, and the ref's like, get in the ring. Joke.
Yeah, it was indeed. Yeah. Sorry about that. Literally, it's going off on the computer. But yeah, I agree. Look, ultimately, I would have had him come just down the aisle in this show. I understand the idea of him coming from the entrance. It always works, but it doesn't always work so well when you're going through these crowds, because you can't guarantee how long it's going to take to get to the ring. People get in the way and stuff like that. And I mean, just the continual yeeting stuff in general, I think is getting on people's nerves a little bit. And like when we got to entry number 26 and Roman was the next one out, I love the fact that Roman kind of teased, shall we? Yeah. Uppercut, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the bloodline. This is not how it should work. And this is, I think, what Jey Uso needs, he doesn't need to go away from TV for me. He needs to go back where things are going wrong, and he needs to explain to him, like, what are you doing? You just become the crown, the jester, if you will. What happened to the right hand man of the bloodline? It needs to get back to the heel ways, and needs to get back to the idea that he wants to be the one to dethrone the tribal chief. That's the way forward for Jey Uso. He's always at his best when it's like people are like wondering, like, for him, like, oh, he's got a bit of a sad face and things aren't going quite right for him. That's when you get the best character work out with Jey. Not when he's eating in front of the crowd. Don't get me wrong, there have been some good moments with the yeeting over the last year. Probably a bit ashamed to say that I got involved with it when we were in Denmark a couple of weeks ago, because why not? It was a bit of fun. But at the same time, this is an important show of the year. And the thing is, he gets in the ring, and the first thing he does is he gets on the turnbuckle and starts doing it. You want someone to come from behind him and chuck him out the ring within 10 seconds. Do you know what I mean?
Please, would have loved it.
Would have been a great spot.
Loved it.
Would have been awesome. But yeah, the Roman spot still was pretty damn cool.
But yeah, look, let's go on to the Brock thing, though. The fact that his elimination gets no screen time because the cameraman's too busy pissing about following Jey Uso. Yeah. Honestly, if I was Brock, I would be pissed. He probably is pissed. Because you've done, like, who even eliminated him was Cody and someone else, wasn't it?
And LA Knight. Yeah.
And, like, again, even the people eliminating don't even make sense. Like, is there going to be a fallout from that? Like, is Brock going to come out and just completely destroy LA Knight now on Monday Night Raw or something? I don't know. Like, it was just a really weird booking. But no, Kit Wilson. Guy's got like the most over entrance in a minute. No Kit Wilson. Like
CD.
honestly, just most over thing at the minute. Probably one of their most streamed songs on Spotify or whatever. No, not even a lick of attention. Like they end up giving it. Like his entrance would have gone down better than Jey Uso's in the Rumble.
Yeah, I do feel so. Well, I don't know. The crowd there was lapping up, and when you are in the crowd, I think you do tend to get up for it. So it's kind of like I understand it from a WWE marketing perspective. I just think that they should have dealt with this better. Like if James had to yeet for that long, and goodness, the term of yeeting can be misconstrued, but if he's got to yeet for that long, be entrant number 1 or number 2. Don't do it in the middle of the match, especially when you've got some more prominent players in there. That's where it harmed. Like if it would have been a sense of like Ober's eliminated the first 4 people, number 5 is coming out, Jey Uso's coming down and yeeting. Fair enough, like, you know, because Ober's been made to wait. It's a sense of mind games and all the rest of it. You can play into, you can even create your own narrative if commentary ain't going to do it for you. But like when it's like at the expense of one of your, you know, even if it's popular or not, he's one of your top stars. Brock Lesnar turned that match when he came in and gave it a new energy, whether you like the guy or you don't. And, you know, the things were interesting while he was in the ring, but when he was just thrown out randomly, like during the entrance, production screwed that up, timing has screwed that up, and arguably Jay's entrance has screwed that up. It is one of the worst moments of a Royal Rumble match, not just in this year, in history, because it's multiple F-ups in one lump. And, you know, imagine a John Cena being thrown out in that manner. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you would never hear the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, man, this Rumble just like this. It started off so bloody well, and it just went downhill so quickly. And again, I go back to a production error because I feel we missed so much stuff because it was just booked so badly. Like you'd have to remind me. Like I can't remember how many people were in the ring when the last entrant come out in the men's one, but it obviously wasn't as bad as the women's one. Yeah, so I'm saying it wasn't as bad, and just poorly booked, getting words out. Poorly booked matches, and how can you book a Rumble match badly? Like it's everyone. Like people were coming in and not even getting their stick in. Like you know what I mean. You know what I mean. When you're the new entrant, you come in, you get like 60, 90 seconds to have a bit of a shine. There was guys coming in just doing nothing. I'm like, what are you doing? This is like it's meant to be your moment. That say 90 seconds is supposed to be your moment to shine. Like. You know, we've seen the famous interviews about Cody Rhodes talking about like attacking the Undertaker when he was in the Rumble and like getting his stick in, and like I just felt like some guys come out in this Rumble and did nothing. They just got in and just got eliminated.
Rusev, Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona needs to turn heel ASAP. This return is not doing him as many favors at the moment with a WWE fan base as the babyface. He needs to have his indie shtick going on to get over with the crowd here, because his character work on the indies as a heel was fascinating to watch. Rusev eliminating 32 seconds. This has offended a lot of people. My reply to this is, do we really care? I haven't seen him since November. He was on the John Cena last time is now tournament. Hasn't really done anything since he's got back. WWE hasn't given me a reason to care about Rusev. I'm sorry. I don't care. I would have preferred Kit Wilson in his spot in the Rumble to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look, we can say that about half the people in the Rumble that and no Aleister Black, and yet Aleister Black went to the Rumble, and apparently, like the reason he wasn't in it was because they didn't want to waste his return as just he's back because he's in the Rumble. Like, why did you even fly the guy halfway around the world then if you're not going to use him? Kit Wilson got flown halfway around the world. You never used him. Like, what's the point? It's just horrible, man. Like, the Rumble was my favorite pay-per-view of the year. I just did not enjoy this.
No.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely indeed. And look, just quickly, Powerhouse Hobbs. Did anyone know who he was? He got no reaction coming out. You know,
honestly, that's got to be one of the worst debuts ever. The fact that they debut his AEW name and then his new name, and certainly crowd haven't got a clue who he is. And I saw this as well in a video.
People did. There was about a 5-person chant in AEW, and again, that's still what you want.
And then what does he do? So AEW isn't broadcast in Saudi Arabia, so they have this former AEW star debut in Saudi Arabia, so they have no idea who he is. He then gets in the ring, and his first standoff is with Cody Rhodes, who was also in AEW, but the Saudi crowd don't know that because they don't get AEW over there.
Yeah.
So what's this booking? Just don't make sense.
Book for the place you're at. Don't, but they booked it for an American audience, that a smart American audience as well. Not just, we're not talking Corpus Christi, we're talking like a Chicago audience, and it's like not everyone gets it, and it's like then it doesn't connect, and then it doesn't cover all our screens, and then it falls flat. It's just again creatively stale, and sadly not good enough. Getting down to the final few entrants, let's get to where we can wrap this up. Obviously, Roman Reigns besting Gunther in the final two. The final four had Randy Orton and Logan Paul again. Feels like the most Triple H booked final four possible, doesn't it, when you think about it, which seems quite predictable. How we didn't get it, we'll never know. But look, Seth didn't return. That was something I wondered on the last week if could happen. Shame, because Roman was my prediction for about 6 months beforehand. I changed it at the last minute. Typical me. Shame on me for that, for buying into some hype. But look, ultimately, I do think it's the right move. Roman won the Royal Rumble. He's been out the title scene for 2 years, and I'm going to bring this comment up from CD, which came very early in the stream, which
do you know he has the second most eliminations in Rumble history?
Not surprised.
And he's only been in like 10. Yeah. And you've got people like Rey Mysterio and Kane, and who are like, well, obviously Kane owns the record, but there's other people in there that have been in like at least 5 more, and probably don't even know anywhere as near to that. It's another Rumble. It's another record he's going to break next year.
Quite possibly. Did you see Roman Reigns on the Pat McAfee podcast complaining about the lack of new WWE stars, but he goes on to win the Royal Rumble? So basically, long and short of it, Roman Reigns went on the Pat McAfee show and said that he's come away from the spotlight for 2 years, and creatively the company hasn't moved forward. He stepped aside to see other people move into the spot and push the company forward, and no one has done it. So I would say he's kind of right. I mean, Cody is obviously celebrated as champion, but some people got bored of it because it arguably was too long. But he did well for the first period of himself holding that title up until at least the end of 2024. 2025 WWE creatively has been a bit of an S show, and I feel that I think Roman went on to say as well, Nick Khan is like he's wonderful, he's brilliant, but we need to keep up with it creatively. And he's gone on to win the Royal Rumble. But you could make an argument, if you are not succeeding with your other bigger stars, there is one star that is your arguably biggest star, guaranteed to make a bit of a buzz, knows how to get people on side, eyes tune in when he's actually on WWE screens. It makes sense for him on the Rumble, right?
No.
No. Go on then, tell me who's on the Rumble.
You could have had Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Logan Paul. You could have had Obafemi. You could have had I'm trying to think who else was there. You could have had Finn Balor. You could have had AJ Styles. I know AJ Styles wasn't in it, and neither was Finn Balor, but do you know what I mean? These were all names that would have potentially had a much more interesting reason to win the Rumble going forward, especially when you look at Jacob Fatu's story with Drew McIntyre. You look at LA Knight, the guy that's always been so close to the peak but has never done it, and then could win the Rumble and then go on to WrestleMania and be a WWE champion. You talk about Finn Balor, who's supposed to be on like, do you know what I mean? He's supposed to be having the run this year, and obviously they've been teasing this face turn, and he's just had a match with CM Punk, and like, if he'd have won, he could have faced CM Punk at WrestleMania. AJ Styles, like I said earlier, if he'd have lost to Gunther and then won the Rumble and said, well, I've got a match at WrestleMania now, no matter what. Do you know what I mean? You had a story to go with then. There's so many more people that would have had a much more fitting, not even fitting, but just much more interesting or intriguing story to tell with them winning the Rumble. Instead, we get Roman Reigns. Like, honestly, you got down to the last four. And I'm cheering for Logan Paul just to be more interesting. Because, like, okay, Randy would have been cool, I guess. Do you know what I mean? The guy's still chasing that elusive, 15th title I think he's after at the minute. Roman Reigns was obviously the other one. Who was the other one? No.
Gunther.
Gunther. If you're going to put him in at 30 and not win the Rumble, what's the point? But even Gunter winning would have been a more logical choice. But yeah, I was rooting for Logan Paul. And why am I doing that? Why am I cheering for Logan Paul? 2 years in a row that guy's been in the Final Four.
I
And
don't
it's
know.
not like that. You could have had so many more better choices. Like, genuinely, you got down to that. I think, I can't remember who was fifth to last being exited. But once the last sort of credible person goes that you want to win it, you're like, well, I really don't care for who wins this Rumble now.
I mean, Cody got eliminated, and that's the moment I think we all went, yep, because you would expect Roman and Cody to be the final two at that point. I can't remember eliminate Cody now, which is not good. I went with Drew McIntyre. He did the Claymore, didn't he? While Cody
when he was bouncing on the ropes.
Yeah, and distracted Jacob Fatu, so he got thrown out of the Rumble as well, which I thought was no, that was a nice little moment in the Rumble. I thought it was a creative little moment, and like I say, it builds that triple threat as and when it comes around. I only agree with Obafemi of the people you've mentioned. Look, AJ Styles, I think, would have been a fun creative twist had you said, like, he has to retire, but he retires at the end of the night. I think that's a creative way you could go about it. But it wasn't in the match, so I'm not going to take it any further other than saying I think it was a cool idea. Finn Balor is going to get his title match. Okay, an expense. He couldn't get into the Rumble, but Mr. Iguana and La Parka could. Have your thought of that as what you will. I thought La Parka was going to get beaten down by Finn Balor. That's what I thought was going to happen. And Balor would come into the match, but Balor will get his match. It will be in Chicago, Elimination Chamber, I reckon. That's, because Punk will wrestle on that show. So I think that's where that one's going to go down. He interrupted the AJ Styles match. So Punk is going to want another mix up with Finn Balor. So I'm confident that Balor didn't need to be in the Rumble to get what he wants here. Obafemi, I agree with you, could win the Rumble, and it would have been interesting. It would have been very interesting to see. But I just feel LA Knight
just wasn't going to win it from number one.
No, he wasn't going to win it for number one. LA Knight, for me, just hasn't been presented in the way with momentum going to the Rumble where it would be believable. It's like some names like him, Jacob Fatu. Yeah, they're good names, and they could be the future. But again, we're talking about marquee WrestleMania, the main event. You're trying to get all the eyeballs on the product that you possibly can, put the biggest matches possible. A lot of people love these, mid-20s WrestleManias because it was Undertaker Shawn, Undertaker versus Triple H. You had Rock versus Cena and all those. It was the headline names, John Cena versus Triple H or Shawn Michaels or whatever. And it's like they did those every year because they had those big names to make those marquee matches. At the moment, yes, you should use WrestleMania to build those next stars, because LA Knight probably only has a few years probably to get to that position if he's going to get there. Jacob Fatu probably has a bit longer, but at the same time, these are the shows that when you get to WrestleMania, you make them the big talking points, so that when it comes around to next year's WrestleMania, for those casuals that are coming, I remember that was the guy from last year that did that thing that took out Roman Reigns, or did that thing that actually, he beat Randy Orton on the last show, and now he's going for the title this year. Feels believable. They've not had that momentum, so it just doesn't work for me. And right now, I would agree that just to finish the point, WWE is on a creative slump. Now, I'm not saying going back to the tried and tested always necessarily makes things fresh, because it's also a stale approach. But at the same time, I understand it from a marketing standpoint, because it is the biggest thing they can do. And I think that if you do have Roman go for CM Punk, it's a massive match. It's almost guaranteed that CM Punk gets a night 2 main event of WrestleMania, which is big in itself. Cena, he's gone. Punk closes the weekend off, which I think is massive for him. But also, should it be Roman versus Drew or Roman versus Cody? Roman versus Cody is still the biggest match they can currently do in WWE. It's still the biggest, because they've not, and this is where creative is stale, because they've not brought other people up to the level of where they can get there, where they are believable to be in that position. Gunter is the closest with what he's been doing and putting away Cena. He got genuine heat after the Cena finish. People were also, Triple H got a lot of that heat as well, because they didn't like the way it was booked. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward. But they need to use this WrestleMania to build those next starts. And I feel that with the Rumble, with presentations of certain people, you mentioned Lash Legend, you mentioned Kiana James. I don't think Kiana James is going to get a breakup moment of Mania, but you catch my point. Javon Evans is for the future. Obafemi is for the future. If they can make some of these people have big WrestleMania moments, Trick Williams, we've not even mentioned. Damn, Trick Williams got a reaction. He got a reaction. He's getting it everywhere he goes, and his promos are brilliant. It's arguably the best promos I've seen from someone so quickly since The Rock. Literally, I think Trick Williams has got a massive future ahead of him, and I think he's going to be He's going to be a main event at WrestleMania. He doesn't need to be a 5-star merchant match classic each and every time because he's got something that makes people care, and it's charisma. He's got something that you can't teach, and he's going to be a big star. But those people aren't ready yet. Roman Reigns is ready. Roman Reigns can put bums in seats, and he's been out of the picture for 2 years. So I think it's the right time to put him back.
But then my argument is why? Where's the stars from WrestleMania last year? Where's the stars from WrestleMania, from Royal Rumble last year that they were supposed to be building for this WrestleMania?
Wait, Trevor
Scott. You go back to last. Good point. But if you go back and look at the card last year, there's no one new on there. There's Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the US title.
Mid card.
There isn't a lot of there's not a lot of other new. So why isn't Jacob Fatu now in the main event scene? They've had a year to do it. Why don't they do that? And then like this, I'm going back to the Rumble last year. So going through all the entrants last year, there's no one on there. No Jada Parker. Jada Parker was in the Rumble last year. She's done nothing in the last 12 months. Who else is... Okay, yeah, fair enough. She's been injured. Julie was in the Rumble last year. She's managed to get on the main roster and win the US title. That's it. Yeah. Stephanie Vaquer was on it. Okay, she's world champion. Fine. Okay, all good from the women's side. All right, where's the men's side of it? Okay, so here we go. Last year, Penta. What's Penta done in 12 months? Hasn't won a title. He's done nothing.
He's got over. I would say he's got over. Fans.
What's Carmelo Hayes done? He was in the Rumble last year. He's won a US title, and he's only just recently. Yeah. Santos. I was going with new Bron Breakker. Okay, yeah, he's got a whole story going on with him. Andrade's been released since last year. Joe Hendry. What's Joe Hendry done? He's finally signed. He's in NXT now. So okay, fair enough. Not so much in that. And guess what? The only other names in there were Dominic Mysterio, who's injured. Everyone, you say about building stars, they're not putting anyone in these matches to build. There's no one on the WrestleMania card from last year that they've built successfully in 12 months to go, you're now the next main eventer, apart from Bron Breakker, which obviously they're doing whatever with. So in 12 months, from the hundreds of wrestlers that they employ, they've built one male wrestler in 12 months. And they don't want to put the title on him yet.
I would argue they've built a couple. I would argue Bron Breakker is one of them. I think Gunther is another. He has already been a world champion. He was a world champion going into last year's WrestleMania, but I think that his stock has risen because of who he's beaten this year. And they can put that.
Jordan Grace was in the Rumble last year.
Yeah, she was in the Rumble this year. But she's going for a women's championship, but she's just been called up. It's still very fresh for her at the moment with a mainstream audience. I think this is the thing that WWE. This is the problem, is that WWE has. I think they're aware of some of the problems they've got. I think they're aware. I think they know that they have an aging main event roster. I think they know that they have a lot of names advancing, but they know that NXT, there is a lot of bright stars that are going to be there for the future. And it's bringing them through, and it's bringing them through the right way. And I think genuinely, look, you can say you want over the last 10 years, been some amazing NXT call-ups and amazing NXT times with Black and Gold, for example. But let's just throw it here. Johnny Gargano, amazing 5-star wrestler, really good. He's like 5'10". He's good on the mic, but he's not gonna. He transcends well with the NXT product. He's not been given the opportunity really to have it in front of the main product. But even when he was, it wasn't clicking. Trick Williams in a month has exceeded everything that Johnny Gargano has done in 2.5 years on the main roster. Trick Williams is got the charisma, he's got the mouthpiece, he's got the shoes. Damn it, the shoes are good. And he has catchphrases, he's got everything going about him. He will be a star. He will be. It's just how long it's going to take to get him there. But they've already put him in like the main event scene already. He's been going for world title opportunities. He's only been there for a cup of coffee.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But you go back to people like Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa was meant to be the next big thing when he came up. That guy was thrown into the main event scene straight away when he was thrown in with Roman at Clash of Cardiff. And he was an integral part of the whole Bloodline storyline. And then they spun him off, and what did they do with him? They did nothing because Jacob Fatu come in. And unfortunately for Solo, Jacob was a bigger star. But it was like, he's doing nothing. He's winning tag team titles and then giving it to the 7-foot guy standing behind him because he's got nothing to do. Yeah. They've had all this talent and it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the problem is it's starting to break and they still don't want to fix it.
I don't know if they know how to fix it completely. Look, Solo got an opportunity. He main evented SummerSlam. Solo didn't get over at the time with his new bloodline. MFTs is more interesting now than when he was main eventing shows because he's got more charisma and he's got more comedy and he's got better promos. He's got more experience from it. He's someone, dare I make a comparison here? He is like someone that's been given a go towards the main event scene, wasn't ready, had to fall down the pecking order, find themselves, and go back a second time. We can go on countless superstars that have had that in their time. Drew McIntyre is one of them, by the way. And I think that the next time he does get an opportunity, it will be good. I do still think with his current group that if Solo, if he ever does get to where he's one of those spots to where he's a top guy in the company, will need to break away from the MFTs. But for what he's got right now, it works because he's got an army that makes him look stronger. He has very good promos at the minute. The stuff he's done with the White Six with the promos has been very good. It's just not my cup of tea with a storyline, that's all. But I mean, like when I look at it, I think he's doing better work. He is doing better work than what he had 18 months ago when he was in the main event of SummerSlam. But it failed. And he failed when he faced Roman on the Raw Netflix debut. That's why he wasn't on WrestleMania.
That's what I'm saying. You put him against Roman Reigns, the guy arguably the big one of the, if not the biggest star in the company, and you made him lose. You booked him to lose the match. How is he ever going to get over if you put him against Roman Reigns and he doesn't win?
Agreed.
Solo Sikoa would be a main event wrestler now if he'd have beaten that. If they'd have changed that one little thing, if he'd have beaten Roman Reigns and become the new tribal chief, how big would Solo Sikoa be 12 months later? But they do it every single time. As soon as someone comes back, like a Roman Reigns or a Brock Lesnar, as soon as someone is on that momentum, on that rise to the peak, at the tippity top of the mountain, here comes some guy who's been around for 20 odd years. We're going to put you against him and lose and kill all your momentum. We see it so many times.
It does happen. The thing is, though, Bronson Reed beat Roman Reigns. And what's happened since? Not so much. He's in the background.
But that's what I'm saying. Bronson Reed didn't have the same kind of history and storyline as what Solo Sikoa did. So this is what I'm saying. If you take that win and give it to Solo Sikoa, Solo becomes a bigger star. Bronson didn't need the win, but they gave it to him anyway. And what's he done with it? This is what I'm saying. They're booking themselves wrong both ways. They don't give Solo the win, and he does nothing in a calendar year. And then they give Bronson Reed the win when he didn't need it, and he does nothing in a calendar year. Yeah. They're making the wrong booking decisions for the wrong characters.
I would agree with that. And the reason I'm going to agree with that, I'm going to agree with it for a different point in argument. Solo was not right to win those matches when he was put in the position. He was not right to beat Cody. He was stars. Yeah, he was not right to beat Roman Reigns on the Raw Netflix debut. He wasn't. That was not the right result. But there was a time where Solo had the momentum behind him in the company when he was in the bloodline. He was the silent assassin that didn't talk. And that was the point. People were behind him. They had like the Batista and Evolution vibe going about him. That was the time to make the play. They didn't make the play and they left it too long. They left it too late.
Yeah.
Well, they have some new stars coming through, and then they have to try and now find those people to come through and try and get them to get to that right level. That's what they need to do. But they have tried with people, just quickly, because we have not got any comments up at all. I'm very sorry to the comments, though, because we do have to wrap up in a minute. I've got work in like 6 hours. CD says they tried with Damien Priest and they failed. So they have tried with people, but they've not been working with the ones they've been trying with.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, what are the chances we're going to be sitting here in a year's time, 14 months' time? We're looking at WrestleMania next year in Saudi, and we're going to be looking at the same old names on the same old card, and there's not going to be anyone in any. I can pretty much guarantee you now that you're going to look at a Trick Williams from this Rumble. You're going to look at a Javon Evans. The only one that's maybe got a shout is Obafemi, because he fits that old school presentation of being 6'5", 330 pounds, and can absolutely dominate in ring. And do you know what I mean? You ain't gonna see Javon Evans in a main event scene at WrestleMania next year. Trick Williams, he's an a really, really outshot, like last call minute you could possibly see. Kamala Hayes ain't gonna be there. Sol Ruka, I guarantee you ain't gonna be in a main event scene at WrestleMania next year. They're just doing it all wrong, man.
It's interesting. It's really interesting. I could carry on this topic for another hour, but unfortunately, we need to wrap up. So let's finish on something positive, shall we? El Grande Americano and El Grande Americano, the original. That was one of the highlights of the Rumble. Freaking loved it.
I called it. As soon as I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, as soon as the first one come out of it, I'll be so funny if Chad Gable comes out next as the next one, and it happened. I wasn't myself.
I cannot wait for Mask versus Mask at WrestleMania. We called it in our WrestleMania predictions video 3 months ago. It's on the YouTube somewhere, so you can go and find it in there. Sticking with that prediction, and I think we'll have the Los Americanos of what is it, Raod and whatever the other one's name is, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate in one corner. I think that you'll get Brutus and Julius Creed dressed up in the masks as well for Chad's side as well from tonight on Raw. And I think eventually, I think Ivy Nile will get on the action as well. And I do wonder if Ludwig Kaiser will have someone from AAA or someone to aid him as well on his side, just so we can have a full-on bit of bonkers fun at WrestleMania. But someone is getting unmasked at WrestleMania, and that will be a lot of fun.
100%. Yeah, great. But again, just to talk about it quickly as well, like looking at this pay-per-view, the WrestleMania card, you can pretty much see Cody versus Punk versus Roman, Drew versus Cody versus Jacob Fatu, multi-women's match for the tag team titles, probably in a ladder format, Grande versus Grande, couple of mid-card titles are probably going to get thrown in there somewhere. Like there's a lot of matches have been made this weekend for WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been some stuff put into to light, and we're going to get more of a clearer direction now when we go to Raw as well in this next week or two. We should start seeing things to go into the chamber, how things are going to shape up for WrestleMania 42. And look, the thing is, ultimately, whether this show was the best show or the worst show, look, ultimately, we're still on the road to WrestleMania. It's the time of year that wrestling fans usually get a bit pumped. And look, let's see what WWE gives us in the next few weeks. But creatively, things have been a bit stale. They have been a bit, lackluster. But ultimately, I will give the star rating of this Royal Rumble a 3, because I do feel that the first 20 entrants up to then was pretty fun. There still was a couple of other good moments in the match. It just fell off at the end.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say the same thing. He's like 2 and 3/4. I'm not going to be as generous. The last 4 just ruined it for me.
That's fair. And overall, let's do our show one that we usually do, and then I'm going to pick out about 5 or 6 questions, and we're going to have just a little bit of fun with those and just do quick answers so everyone would give someone a shout in the video, because I feel like people commented for an hour and we've not had time today.
Yeah, we've waffled for so long. I apologise.
Yeah, so we apologise for that. OMG moment of the night.
Brie mode. No. AJ actually retiring, because I didn't think it was going to happen.
It's the right answer, but I'm going to go for Rhea's elimination. It just looks so painful from Raquel. I don't react to it too much, but I reacted to that. Match of the night, AJ versus Gunther. Yep. Entrance of the night.
Brie mode, because I've never seen it get such a pop before in my life. That was ridiculously stupid and irritating at the same time.
Yeah, I'm going to give it the Brie mode as well, because madness.
No.
MVP of the night.
Javon Evans.
I like that. Obafemi.
Yeah.
Final rating.
4. There's only one good match on the card.
Yeah.
And the Rumbles are half-assed.
Okay. Yeah, they're half-assed. I'm going for a 5. I'll go for a 5.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair rating. So yeah. Okay. That's
still the worst Rumble ever.
Yeah. Sorry?
Still the worst Rumble pay-per-view ever.
Interesting. I mean, 22 was a mess as well. 22 was bad.
Was 22 the COVID one?
No, 22 was the first one after COVID. AJ Styles got eliminated by Ridge Holland. With the returns of Ronda Rousey and also Brock Lesnar.
Rousey won that year, didn't she?
Yeah, that's.
Oh, yeah, that was actually pretty bad.
I have a controversial one. I don't like the 1995 Royal Rumble with Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog. Number 1, number 2 being the final.
Outrageous.
Do you want to know why? Every
Go on.
entrant comes in a minute later, and outside of HBK, the Bulldog, Owen Hart, there is a clusterfuck of not knowing who the hell is in that Rumble. You watch that now, you tell me if you know half of them people.
Retro review coming soon.
It's like Stephen Dunn or Stephen Well and Timothy Dunn, whatever their names are. Like, so, you know, you got.
We might have to do a watch along just for that match alone. There,
it's awful. Like, it's not good. It's not good. Anyway, was Royal Rumble 2026 the worst of all time? No, I do think
one of
there. One of, yeah. I do think though that if I really wanted to, I could find at least 5 worse. If I really wanted to, it takes some digging, but I could do it, I reckon. What did we think of
them? You'd be at a stretch for early ones.
Yeah, definitely. 88 is not very good. What do you think of fans chanting "We want Vince" at the Royal Rumble?
I'm not being funny, but I don't think Triple H honestly gives a flying F. I don't think he cares at all. No. And I said this months ago, like, I can't believe that I almost miss. At least Vince had consecutive booking. Like, don't get me wrong, it was bad, but at least, I don't know. Triple H just seems to have lost the plot in the last 18 months.
Yeah, I understand that. New Brains 4 out of 10. I agree. I don't think the Royal Rumble is right with that audience because they're not into everything. You need a crowd that is into everything with the Royal Rumble to make it work. So that's why I would agree with that. 5 out of 10.
You're right. 22 is a pretty bad one, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Brock winning the men's Rumble, Rousey winning the women's. Gee.
Yeah. Noob says Kabuki Warriors elimination spots were awkward, made them look like terrible heels. Can we just get Oscar and Io Sky story already? I think they've moved on. I think it's Oscar and Kyrie coming now instead. I reckon that's the one they're going with, unfortunately. Noob. But look, end of the day, I would agree. The booking of them has not been particularly great as of late. Yes, they've been winning matches and stuff like that. Oscar and Kyrie have been tag team champions, but they do seem quite goofy in a lot of their shtick that they're doing for me. It doesn't come off as truly believable in my opinion. But I agree here, Liv Morgan, right choice. But the eliminations were clunky and way too many storylines. I didn't feel there was enough storylines for me in that Rumble, to be perfectly honest. But that's my take. Tim's got a couple here. Tim asked us, we've answered this earlier, but Tim, thank you, says, as AJ Styles just retired from WWE All of Wrestling. If you asked Triple H's All of Wrestling, if you've asked us, we think just from WWE. Maybe he'll be somewhere soon. Have to wait and see. Also, WWE still don't know how to book Jordan Grace. One thing, though, that was kind of cool with Jordan Grace, and especially with a few other women, they were dressed as Power Rangers. Well, that was quite a creative way to be done the Rumble. I thought it was creative.
Stupid. Yeah, it was, but it was so stupid.
It's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun. I'll take that. Tommaso Ciampa won the TNT Championship on Collision. Was you happy? He wasn't, because he wanted Briscoe to win. I'm happy about it, but if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there, does it make a sound? That's what I would say.
Are you talking about Collision's viewership figures by any chance?
Yep, it should have been a revolution.
I watched it on YouTube, so I saw it and I was gassed for him.
I think it should have been on
100%.
Yeah, or Dynamite at least. So yeah, that's what I would have said. But yeah, poor Finn Balor, says CD. Not to have the spots there, but certainly Brock Lesnar and Damien Priest announced right after that they were in it. Yeah, it's not really fair, is it? To be fair to poor Finn Balor. Steve Macklin apparently has been fired from TNA, so maybe he's the masked man. I don't see that personally, but certainly it's a little bit of fun. Ray wants to see Scott D'Amore brought in to replace Triple H. I'm sure that we can get that on the bandwagon. And CD says the 2020 Rumble was not a COVID one, but 2021 was 2021. But I think that Rose Rumble was pretty decent, actually. I don't mind the 2020
Edge one.
It's the Edge one, and Bianca and Rhea in the final for the women.
Yeah.
Billy Kay trying to get a resume to everyone in the Women's Rumble. Golden
Edge
stuff.
and Christian reunite in the ring. Oh, it's great. Getting Christian's old music as well. Great Rumble.
TV screens, better audience than this. Anyway, that's how we're going to wrap this video up today.
Actually better than Saudi, yeah.
Yeah, there you are. Good luck at Mania 43. But anyway, thanks all for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Sorry again, we didn't get to more of the comments during the video, but we'd like to think that we have tried to make up for a little bit in the last 10 minutes of the video. But look after yourselves and each other. We will be back, though, with a Q&A on Thursday. that is your show to shine. Everything from the start is going to be yours. So Q&A Thursday here on SCW on the Farewell Tour. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves. And what's next on the road to WrestleMania for WrestleMania 42? Who will Roman and Liv go for? Which champions? Let us know in the comments below right now. Take care. We'll see you for the next one. If you want to see more in the meantime, check out the Elimination Chamber match card predicted.